Hi everyone, my name is Ashley, and today I'll be leading you through just a short 30-minute vinyasa yoga class focused on opening up the shoulders, the neck, and just building a nice supple spine. So grab a slice of space, and we're going to begin lying down on our backs. So as you arrive down to your back, just allow your knees to bend. They can be a comfortable distance apart if you like to take them a little wider or even come into a constructive rest. Feel free to make choices with the lower body. And then begin to either soften your gaze or close your eyes. Hands can be resting wherever is comfortable. And just begin to notice the breath here. Noticing where it's rising and falling in the body today. And noticing if there are any places through the back of the body especially that are a little bit more resistant to the movement of the breath. And as you notice these places, don't feel the need to make a value judgment on them. Just observe and just notice. And then we'll start to add just a little bit of embodiment to our breath. So on your next inhale, you're going to begin to make a lot of space underneath your mid-back. So you inhale, arch the back so that you make a little arc right underneath the middle part of the rib cage. And then as you exhale, you're just going to begin to soften that space down into the mat, maybe even going into a little bit of a tuck through the tailbone, just trying to press all that space out. And we're just going to continue to follow the breath here. Again, opening the heart, opening the ribs as you inhale. And then as you exhale, just allowing the ribs to soften and press into the mat. Now here, your range of motion is going to be determined pretty heavily by what you're doing with the lower body. So if you are opting for more of a straight leg position here, you're going to have a little bit less of that tuck as you come in, and it's going to probably arrive more to a neutral position. We'll take just one more like this, friends, and then we're going to add on here. So again, keeping it pretty subtle, we're going to inhale, again, opening the rib cage. And then this time as you exhale, think of setting one side of your rib cage down before the other. And once again, you inhale, opening the ribs, and then placing one half of the rib cage down, followed by the other. Now, as we move into this side-to-side weight shift, you might notice a slight weight shift through the pelvis, possibly through the legs. Just start to lean into whatever's happening through the back of the body. We want our form to be more dynamic here than rigid. And we're just working that subtle rotation at the rib cage. Because a lot of times when we get the tightness through the neck and shoulders, it usually means that the spine is tighter down the chain, so ribs and low back. Last one here, inhale on the up. Exhale, drop the ribs down. And then just find a moment here in center. If your legs were wider or if you had them straight out, you're going to bend the knees in so the feet are flat on the mat. And then bring your attention down to your pelvis, imagining it like a big bowl of water. We're going to take a similar rock and roll here. So as you inhale, you're going to arch the low back. Again, make that little mouse house underneath your low spine. And then as you exhale, gently pressing that space out. So we'll take a couple here. Again, just seeking to find a little release, a little extra mobility through the lower part of the spine. Because again, a lot of times when we have tightness or compression in one part of the spine, it means that there's another part of the spine that's also a little locked up. Now take just one more here. And then we're going to hold that tuck under. So when you're pressing all of those air bubbles out from underneath your low back, and just start to stand through your feet, finding a really easy bridge pose. Now, unlike our bridge pose that we tend to do towards the end of the class, that's a little bit more of a back bend, this is more focused on just finding some grounding through the feet. And then as you exhale, you're slowly going to sit the hips down towards the mat. Again, you'll inhale at the bottom. Exhale, you'll tuck your tailbone. You're going to roll up into your bridge on the way up. Again, feeling the weight between your shoulder blades so we keep the back of the neck open, and then slowly ease it down. Now we'll take a few more here, and again, think of stamping your feet really firmly into the mat so you feel all four corners of your feet as you roll up and down out of your bridge. Now our next one here, friends, we're going to stay up at the top. So we bring our bridge up again, go through your checklist, press into your big toes, weight through the back of the shoulders, and we're just going to bend the arms here. So finding a little bit of a kickstand through the back of the arms. Now keeping the pelvis steady, we're just going to take a little walk here. So lifting one leg up into an easy tabletop, think float, and then you'll float it right back down. Now here you can use the upper arms, the elbows, as much as you need for support. Again, they're here just to make sure that our pelvis stays centered. So if you want to challenge your balance, you can also lift the arms off the mat as you find this walk. It's really up to you. Do what feels best here. And then from here, we'll take just two more to even ourselves out from side to side. Good, and then you'll bring the hips down. You can either roll down or come down through a neutral spine. Open the arms out to a little V right by the sides of the hips, and just windshield wiper the legs out. Just a little rinse for the low back. You can let the head go in opposition. Again, doing what feels good on the body here. And then bringing yourself back to center when you're ready. Again, feel the spine in that nice long neutral. You're going to lift your legs one at a time up to a tabletop, so 90 degrees behind the knees and in front of the hips. Bring your hands to your thighs and your thighs to your hands. Now, without changing anything in your spine, you're just going to begin to press the hands pretty effortfully into the fronts of your thighs. Now, here's the moment where we want to connect into the sides of the ribs, so kind of right underneath your armpits. So we're pressing through the hands, pulling through the thighs, and starting to find a little bit of engagement through the upper back. Take one more breath here. And then you'll soften the legs in. You can take a little rock from side to side, or just pull the knees up into the chest, just finding a little space in the back. And then bringing your legs back out to that easy tabletop. Again, we'll find hands to thighs, thighs to hands. We find that pressure, we find that work through the mid-back, and then you'll lift one arm up just towards the ceiling. Your palm spins in towards your midline. Now, same arm and leg, we're just going to take a little reach back, and then as you exhale, slowly bringing the arm and the leg back into your midline. Just adding a little bit of mobility into our moving side while we continue to stabilize through the mid-back and the core on your opposite side. Now, pelvis and ribs stay steady into the mat, so if you start to notice any sort of buckling through the ribs, just shorten your range of motion. The leg doesn't even have to straighten all the way here. Take your last one, you reach it back, and then bring it into the center. You find hands to thighs, thighs to hands. Equalize that pressure. Feel a little bit of a wrapping through the ribs. And then once again, we free up our second side. So opposite arm lifts. And you're going to reach arm and leg away from each other. And slowly exhale to bring it in. Now in today's practice, we are going to be utilizing the upper back quite a bit. Because muscularly, when we want to take some pressure off the shoulders and neck, we want to strengthen the muscles below it. It's almost like, they almost act like little suspenders for our neck and shoulders. We'll take 3 more for 3. And last 2. And then last 1. Bringing it all the way in, equalizing pressure, hands to thighs, thighs to hands for 3, 2, and then softening the knees in on 1. Taking, again, a little rock, a little circle. Maybe you want to circle the thighs out here. Again, just finding some ease, finding some feel-good movement on the mat here. And then we'll hug the legs in nice and close. You're going to hang on to your right shin. Left leg reaches down towards the end of the mat to find your wind releaser. Now feel that left heel reach out long, almost as if you're standing on it, while that right knee hugs up towards your shoulders. Now again, feel the elbows wrap so that the mid-back is engaged. You take one more breath here. And then on your next exhale, we're going to find just a little lift through head, neck, and shoulders. So starting to find a little bit more of that forward mobility through your rib cage. You'll lengthen your bottom leg out. And we're just going to take a switch through the legs. Now feel your legs float out of the hips here. So that way we can really check in with the pelvis, making sure that it's staying centered. If you notice any weight shifts happening as you take this switch, again, bring your range of motion in. This knee doesn't have to come in super far. Again, here we're focusing on getting that forward mobility, that forward flexibility in your back. When you have your left leg in, next time you're going to hold and then bring it all the way down to the mat. And we'll breathe it out here in our wind releaser. Again, hugging that left thigh up towards your shoulder, reaching that right heel down towards the end of the mat. Active foot as if you were standing on it. Another breath here. And then catch up on your exhale. As you exhale, you'll curl chin and chest. Find a little lift forward. And again, that bottom leg is going to lift up. And we're going to take another set of switches here. Again, think float the leg, easy effort through the head and neck. Maybe shake your head from side to side if you notice tension coming into the shoulders. And use the hands. Allow the hands to help you here as you pull into that forward flexion. Last one. And then soften the knees into your chest, maybe giving the head a little roll from side to side. And then from here, just taking a little rock and roll to bring yourself up. We'll find ourselves in tabletop, so finding hands and knees all stacked underneath each other, pressing the ground away, and we'll just start to go into our cat-cows, so dropping the belly on the inhale, and then pressing the ground away as you exhale. So finding that full head to tail connection as you breathe the spine. Now shoulder blades here stay wide, both when you're extending the spine and when you're flexing the spine. So in order to keep the shoulders supported here, feel almost like you can tear the mat apart from side to side, and we're activating that same swath of muscle underneath the armpit. You'll neutralize your spine here. Flip your toes onto the walk if they're not there already, and just take a little lean back here. So just stretching out the soles of the feet, feeling like you can stretch the mat out in front of you. Take an inhale here. And then as you exhale, we're going to cat the spine forward. Begin to roll yourself out to a little knee plank, stacking shoulders over wrists, and then reverse that. Cat your spine, shift the weight back, puff the shoulder blades up, and sitting back into a foot stretch. We're going to ping pong the spine forward and back like this just a few more times. Finding that ease and also starting to introduce some weight into the hands. So especially as you come forward into that knee plank, feel like you can plant the fingers and suction cup the palms down to the floor. Now from here, you're going to roll it forward into your knee plank and hold. Shift the weight a little bit further. And again, feel the mat get torn apart from side to side. And then just gently bend the elbows into a baby chaturanga dandasana. Now we'll hold here for one more breath. Again, squeeze the elbows back. And then exhale, press the ground away. Cat your spine back to where you started. Little foot stretch action here. Maybe you want to take a moment to shift from side to side just to stretch out the bottoms of the feet a little bit more. And then we'll do that once again. So you inhale to prep, you exhale, cat the spine forward. Again, we'll keep the knees down here as you bend your elbows just to the sides of the body to your baby chaturanga. And then pressing yourself up, curving your spine back. And we'll spend a little bit more time in this foot stretch. If you need to walk the hands back a little bit to get a little bit more power, a little bit more traction for the feet, please feel free to do so. If you would like a little bit more intensity in your stretch, you can also come up to sit right on top of the heels. We'll breathe it out here. Maybe shifting from side to side. And then bringing it back to center. We're going to walk the hands back out to our tabletop position. Shift the hips back. This time we're going to send the hips up to our downward facing dog. Now here, as you get into your downward facing dog, make sure that your elbows are in your peripheral vision. We want to make sure we keep the shoulders wrapped, we keep them plugged into the back and supported. You'll lift up onto your toes, bend your knees, and just take a little walk or a step forward into the bottom of your forward fold. Now here, I'm going to keep my knees pretty generously bent, but do what feels best on your body here if you like to straighten them. We'll grab opposite elbows in your hands. Just allow that additional weight to really traction out the upper back, making a little bit more space. One more breath here. And then slowly you'll drop the arms, and we'll just begin to roll up your spine. All the way up to the top. We're going to inhale to reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Hands meet in prayer. You're going to bend the knees all the way down to the bottom of your forward fold. Keep the knees generously bent as you take a halfway lift. Easy does it. And then plant your hands down. Step it back to your high plank. And just feeling that same sensation of support through your shoulders. You're tearing the mat apart, side and wide. One more breath here. Then option to drop the knees down or to keep them up as you take your chaturanga, shifting forward, dropping all the way down to your belly, flip the toes, and just lifting up into a baby cobra. So elbows reaching back, we keep the lower ribs into the mat. And then exhale, rolling it down. Now a little different here, friends. You're going to keep your knees planted. You're going to take a press up into your knee plank and then tuck your chin, roll it back to tuck the toes, and then hips come up to your downward facing dog. So little different, little bit of a detour. We'll take a moment here. Again, make sure those elbows are in your peripheral vision. You'll lift up high onto the toes, bend your knees and step it, walk it, jump it if you're feeling so inclined to the bottom of your forward fold. We'll catch up on your inhale, lifting up, and then easy drop back down to the floor. Release the head. Just like before, we'll soften the knees a little bit more. We'll take a roll all the way up to the top. Let's take that flow one more time, friends. You're going to reach the arms. Hands meet in prayer, bend the knees generously, rolling it down. Hands come to the floor. Inhale to the fingertips, halfway lift, and then plant the hands down. Step it back to your high plank pose. Again, reaching through the heels, tearing the mat apart from side to side. Your choice of your chaturanga, shifting forward. And again, we'll opt for that baby cobra. So really isolating that upper back. And exhale to come down. Take an inhale to prep. Exhale, you'll press the ground away. You come up to your knee plank. Tuck the chin towards your chest. You roll it back, tuck the toes, and then lift the hips up to your downward facing dog. Take one more round of breath here. Lift up high onto your toes. You'll bend the knees and take your step or your walk forward, dropping the head once again. You'll inhale to lift halfway up. Exhale to drop. And then rolling it all the way up to the top. Reach your arms up towards the sky. Now here, feel a sense of wrapping through your ribs, so pinky fingers come into your peripheral vision. You bend the knees into your chair pose. Sits bones are out wide behind you. Feel the weight in your heels. Look down, make sure you can see the tops of your feet. We'll take one more breath here. Again, keep gathering the arms, gathering the rib cage. And then we'll lift your left heel up. We'll slowly step it back to your warrior one. So spin that heel out 45 degrees. Again, hips can have a little rotation, but we want to wrap the shoulders forward. Now from here, you're going to take your left arm. You're going to spin the arm around, pinwheel it. Reach towards the back of your mat, and then wrap the shoulders as you come forward. As you circle the arm, you want to think of tracking that thumb. So you're like a cat with a laser pointer here. So you allow the head to get involved, you allow the chest to get involved. And again, we're allowing our form here to be really fluid. And wrap. Take one more here. Wrap the shoulders. Now from here, stretch your front leg, clasp the hands behind you, and then interlace the fingers to open the chest up. So keeping both legs straight, just reaching towards the sky. Here, if the hands are out of reach, just reach the fingertips back towards your back foot. Again, that energy will still open your chest. And then when you're ready, we're going to bend into that front knee, coming into your humble warrior. Reaching the knuckles up towards the sky, feeling like you have a magnet on them. Take one more breath here. And then feel length out of the knuckles, out of the crown of the head. As you bring yourself up, straighten your leg one more time into that chest stretch. And then release the arms, wrap the ribs, bend into your front knee. Spin your back heel to your high lunge. And then we're going to toe it off into our chair pose. So just step it forward. Take one breath here, just sinking into the feet. And then press it on up. Take a big circle with the arms, just opening up the chest. And then stacking the arms right back to where you started. Second side. You begin to bend your knees, soften the hips back. Again, check in. Make sure that we have that nice deep crease right at the front of the hips. Ribs are wrapping in. So spine is supported 360 degrees around the torso. From here, you lift your right heel, so opposite side. You reach it back, spin it out to your warrior one. Again, hips can have a little rotation, but shoulders square you forward. We get this nice long spiral from the back foot. Take a breath here, and then it's your right arm finding that big pinwheel. So you circle it around, follow that thumb with your eyes, and then wrap it forward. Once again, reaching back. Wrap it forward. And think of taking up as much space with this circle as feels good. So again, fluidity is part of our form rather than, accomplishing a certain pose. We're always in a state of arriving here. Last one. You'll wrap the shoulders. Now from here, straighten up through your front leg. We reach those hands back. Again, you can opt for energy through the fingertips or interlacing the hands to lift your chest up. Take a breath here. And then bending into your front knee, softening into your humble warrior. Reaching those knuckles up towards the sky. Taking a couple breaths here. Opening the chest. Reaching out through the crown of your head and knuckles. Start to bring it up to the top. You'll straighten your arms. One more time into that chest stretch. And then square your ribs off. Allow your arms to come up by the sides of your ears. Pivot that back heel, soften into your high lunge. And then once again, we'll toe it off to come forward into your chair pose. Stretch it all the way up. Gentle standing back bend, circle the arms. And then reach the arms up. Hands come into prayer overhead. We bend the knees. Send it all the way down to the floor. Hands touch, easy halfway lift. Again, generous bend through the knees. Hands come down and step it back to your plank. Reaching through crown of head and heels. And then your choice of your chaturanga. If you'd like to place the knees down, go for it. And then we'll flip the toes. Easy baby cobra here. Slowly soften down on your exhale. And then from here, you press up to your high knee plank. Tuck the chin, roll it back. Tuck the toes. And then send your hips up. Downward facing dog. One round of breath here. Then lift up onto the toes. Bend your knees. If you like to hop forward, go for it. If you want to step it out. And let the head hang low here. Maybe give it a little shake. Inhale once again to find your halfway lift, lengthen the back. Exhale, drop it down. And then once again, we roll up the spine, sweeping the arms up overhead, wrapping the sides of the head so you can see your fingers. Bend your knees into your chair pose. We'll add on just a little bit. Lift that left heel up, step it back to your warrior one. So you spin the back heel out, shoulders square, hips are revolved. We take 3 of those big arm circles, so you sweep it back and wrap. Sweeping back and wrap it out. Last one. Good, wrap and hold. You straighten your front knee, reach those hands behind you. You take 1 moment to stretch the chest. And then you bend into your bottom knee, softening over into your humble warrior. Take 1 more round of breath here. And then reach those knuckles up towards the ceiling, press through your front leg. 1 more moment in your chest opener. And then wrap the ribs, release the hands. Spin your back heel to your high lunge, bending into your front knee. Now from here, we're gonna bring our arms just a little bit lower. So think like slightly below shoulder height. You're gonna inhale to open everything out, side and wide. And exhale, bringing it all the way into center. Once again, side and wide. And then bending it into center. Last time here, open out. Bend it in. Now from here, we're going to bend the arms into a cactus. And then bend your back knee, just hover it above the ground. Holding here. We'll go 3, 2, and last one, hover it down, flip your toes, and then from here, we're gonna bring our pelvis into a gentle posterior tilt, so that tuck. Now, same arm as front leg, you place the hand against the inner thigh, and then sweep the opposite arm up and over to come into a gentle side bend stretch. As you stretch here, in your low lunge, feel your inner thighs gently hug the midline. So we're lifting out of this stretch just a hair. From here, you reach out to come up. Bring the hands back to that cactus. And then we're gonna open the chest and just allow the pelvis to sink a little further forward, finding that big swoop through the back. Take 1 more moment here. And then you'll bring your spine back to an upright position again. Wrap the arms, wrap the inner thighs. You're gonna take a little hover from your low lunge back up to your high lunge. Let's also reach those arms forward. Now from here, shift your weight forward a lot. Step it forward into your chair pose, and then standing up into your mountain pose, Tadasana. Now, same leg that you were just working with. So lifting that left leg, we shift to the right. We lift the left leg up. Now flex the foot as if you're going up a flight of stairs. So it's like you're standing on it. And then we'll take that leg into our back space, pressing on an imaginary wall behind you. Now from here, you're going to bend that back knee. You can grab the foot. Again, if it's ever feeling out of reach, you can always use a strap to loop around the leg. And then the arm that's not occupied is just gonna reach forward. Now from here, this might be your dancer for the day. But if you would like to take a slightly larger version of our dancer, you're gonna kick the foot into the hand and press it forward. Now, I'm opting for a little bit more of a reserved version of our dancer pose because, again, I want to focus opening up the shoulder. So viewing this as more of an opener for your chest, whoa, there we go, than an opener for the thigh. Take one more breath here. And then slowly bring everything back in towards your midline. You might get some wobbles. And then let the foot go. You're going to fold down over the legs. Just taking a moment, shaking the head out. And take an inhale here. And then exhale, drop the tailbone down. Reach those arms all the way up, wrapping the ribs. Sitting back into your chair pose, we're going over to our second side. Lifting up the heel. And then you step it back, spin the heel to your warrior one. Square the shoulders off towards the front of your mat. And then we take that big pinwheel of the arm, so reaching back and wrapping forward. Once again, reaching back and wrap it forward. Last time here. And wrap. Then straighten your front leg, reach those fingertips behind you, whether they're bound or if they're apart. Stretching the chest, keeping the back of the neck easy and open, and then softening into your humble warrior. Take one more breath here. And then reach it out through the crown of your head. One more moment here to open the chest up. And then on an exhale, let the arms go. They frame the sides of your head. And then we scoot and pivot that back leg to our high lunge. Now from here, hands come a little bit lower. And then as you inhale, you're going to press your back leg and then close it in. I'm going to move a little closer. Once again, you open up the front body, press through your front leg, and close it in. Give me just two more like this, opening out and bending back in. Last and final time. Wrap the arms in. Now from here, bend the elbows 90 degrees, open the arms out to your cactus, and then we bend into our hovered low lunge. Holding here for 3 and 2. And last one, setting the knee down, flipping the toes, and then once again, finding that little posterior tilt of the pelvis. Same arm as leg, you press against the inner thigh, you reach the opposite arm overhead, gentle side bend here. Just sending the air into that side pocket area of your waist, right below the ribs. One more breath here. And then you reach it out to come up. Arms bend back into that cactus. Feel that same sense of hugging the inner thighs in towards your midline as you allow the hips to recline slightly forward. Chest lifts up towards the sky. One more breath here. And then you'll wrap the ribs in. From here, we'll tuck that back toe under and then shift it forward into your high lunge. Arms can reframe the sides of the head. Take one breath here. And then we'll take a big step forward, stepping into your chair pose, and then up to your mountain pose, Tadasana. Once again, we're going to shift to one foot. You're over to your left foot this time. Lifting the right foot up, flexing the foot as if you're standing on it, and then swinging that thigh bone back, pressing into an imaginary wall behind you, reaching back to grab your foot. Again, feel free to use a strap here. Free arm reaches forward. Now, again, this might be your dancer for the day, and that is totally fine, because we are focusing on the chest here. If you want a little bit more sensation for that chest stretch, start to kick the foot into the hand, finding your dancer. Now, regardless of what iteration of your dancer pose you're doing here, think of the body being expansive, so you're taking up as much space with the pose as you can. And that means that it's always adjusting. So our form is dynamic. Never feel like you have to stick a pose. From here, you'll bring it all the way back in, bringing the opposite hand into heart center, then letting the foot go, and then bending the knees over into your forward fold. Take a moment to shake your head out. And then you'll plant your hands, step it back to your high plank, and we'll pretty immediately drop the knees down into a tabletop. Flip those toes, you walk the hands back underneath your shoulders. From here, just working a little bit more rotation as we cool down. You're going to reach your left arm up, rotating the chest. Again, looking up towards your thumb, and then threading the needle underneath your supporting arm, coming onto the side of the shoulder, head comes down. Here, feel free to reach that top arm up overhead to find a stretch through that top side body. Just sinking into your breath here. Then if you have that top arm stretched out on your mat, you're going to bring it back in, just like right in front of your nose. Press yourself up. Little counter rotation looking up towards the sky, and then feeding that hand back down to the mat. We'll go to the other side. So once again, you'll rotate up. Right arm leads, you look towards the thumb, and then thread the needle underneath, coming to the side of the shoulder, side of the head. And again, adjusting that top arm to whatever feels good. And as always, never feeling like you have to recreate a stretch from side 1 to side 2. Honor what this side is telling you. We'll take one more breath here. And slowly bring that top hand back in. Exhale to press the ground away. Easy counter rotation, and then feeding that arm right back down to the mat. Put your big toes together, widen your knees out. We'll take a child's pose, stretching those hands out in front of us. Forehead releases on the mat. As you're ready, you'll stack the hands up on the left side of your mat, but feeling both sits bones reaching back towards your heels. Aiming the breath into the open side of the rib cage. And then walking the hands over to the opposite side of the mat, again stacking them up. Feeling the sits bones reach. Hands come back to the center. And from here, you'll shift your weight forward, making your way to just an easy seated position. If you like to take your seat on blocks, feel free to prop yourself up as you like. And from here, we'll take the fingertips, just walking them out side and wide until it's just the middle finger pads touching the mat. Feel your spine stack here. And then allowing your head to drop towards your left shoulder. As you drop the head to the left, you can allow the left arm to soften. Those right fingertips may come up off the ground. And from here, with the right arm that's still in that nice active reach, you're just going to start to find a little rotation. So like you're turning a doorknob, you turn in from the shoulder, and then turn out, palm goes up towards the ceiling. Once again, turning it in. And turning out. Take just 2 more of these glides. And last one. Bring it all the way up. And then reinvigorating that reach on both sides. And then we'll take the head over towards the right shoulder. Just opening up. As your head drops to the right, allow that right shoulder and elbow to soften. Maybe give it a little wiggle. And then like you're turning a doorknob, you're going to turn that left shoulder in and then turn it out. Once again, in and turning out. Just twice more here. And then last one. And then reaching up, taking a little circle through both shoulders, just feeling what the shoulder girdle feels like. And then we'll turn to the side, facing towards the short side of your mat. Bending the knees, taking the hands behind your thighs just to ease yourself down to your back. And for our Shavasana today, I'll have you take the feet a little bit wider, knees knock in towards one another, and then letting the hands rest by your side. Palms flipping up so we can maintain that nice open chest that we were working with. And just allowing your breath to settle. And allowing the breath to encourage just an overwhelming sense of softness through the entire body, through the face, the jaw, the backs of the shoulders, all the way down into the tips of the toes. Feel free to pause your video here if you would like to take a little longer in your Shavasana. But as you're ready to come out, we'll start to just bring some gentle movement into the back of the head, as if you're drawing tiny little circles on the ceiling with your nose. Just finding that pivot right at the top of the skull. Maybe reversing the direction of that circle. And as you take this second direction of your circle, just allowing other parts of the body to begin to move. Just allowing the senses to become a little broader here. So moving our focus from the physical body out into the environment that you're practicing in. And allowing these small movements to amplify to a point where you can roll over to one side, right or left, and then press yourself up to an easy seat. Taking a little rock from side to side on the pelvis. And again, arriving at a place that feels like center, where your head, shoulders, ribs, and pelvis are all stacked in one long vertical line. And just taking a moment to remind yourself that this sense of ease and fluidity exists within you always. And it's always here for when you want to return to it. Bring your hands in front of your chest in prayer, bowing the chin. Namaste.